Welcome to day one of the Actors of Game of Thrones movie review week, and today we're going to start with Daenerys Targaryen, aka Emilia Clarke, in the 2010 made-for-TV movie Triassic Attack. Now, before we get into the review, let's talk a little bit about these sci-fi movies that we tend to have. These are kind of renowned to be cheap and nasty and kind of just made for a quick buck for something to put on TV, and quite often have very kind of silly ideas. And this one, let me tell you, takes the biscuit. So it basically focuses on a kind of Native American preserve area in somewhere in the US, and it's a kind of small community of people where we have the kind of the Native American population kind of clashing with the kind of new business developers and things like that. And one of these guys basically kind of gets so pissed off, he basically conjures up this kind of some kind of spirit, and this spirit basically takes over the bones of three fossilised dinosaurs: a Tyrannosaurus Rex, a pterodactyl, and a velociraptor, although this is kind of a Jurassic Park size velociraptor. Anyway, and these bony creatures essentially go on a rampage, killing the locals, and it's up to the town sheriff, his daughter, played by Emilia Clarke, his wife, and a couple of others, to save the day. So this is very much a kind of, for the most part, a bloodless affair. There's one scene which involves a mild bit of gore, which is actually reminiscent of Predator, I have to say. But for the most part, this is a fairly kind of tame movie. And really, I have to say, apart from that kind of one scene, plays more like a sort of a young film, a kid's film almost. There's kind of some comedy here, which is very much sort of pratfalls. You know, you've got a guy falling over in cow pats and things like that, and sort of like silly humour like that, basically. This kind of aims very young. So I'm not quite sure who this is meant to be aimed for, because like I said, it has one kind of somewhat gory scene in it. So if that wasn't in there, I would definitely say this is kind of a movie for kids. But apart from a couple of like comedy hits here and there, if they take it seriously for the kind of the most part, or as seriously as you can for a sci-fi movie channel. Let's talk about a little bit about Emilia Clarke. This is one of her, if not her first movie role, I believe, and she's meant to be this kind of part Native American, but what you can hear her English accent kind of break through here. Obviously, this is an earlier role, so we'll kind of cut her a bit of slack. She's actually in it quite a lot as well. Some of these films I will review. I will be honest, the Game of Thrones members might not be in it as much as some others, but she is in it quite a lot, and she's fine here. It's obviously one of her first roles. There's nothing spectacular here, but it's a really sort of bit of a forgettable B movie, to be quite honest. And it's an interesting concept. I mean, you might say, obviously, if you're looking at your Game of Thrones references here, you've got potentially Daenerys Stormborn fighting off the undead horde, or the Whites in Game of Thrones potentially, and now maybe she get a bit of practice fighting these kind of skeletal dinosaurs. It's an interesting take for a kind of a movie monster, but it's so ridiculous. I mean, these things are growling, they have no muscles to move and things like that. The pterodactyl is actually flying. I mean, of course, you could just say, oh yeah, it's magic, so whatever. But obviously, the actual concept here is very sort of silly. But for younger viewers, they might kind of find it a little bit more interesting, I think, because it is so kind of out there. And who doesn't love undead dinosaurs? I mean, it's I guess there is that. And at one point in the movie, we basically have the pterodactyl and the Tyrannosaurus combine to kind of make a super flying Tyrannosaur undead skeleton thing. Yep, it happens. So really kind of a silly film. Not really much to recommend it, to be honest with you, unless you are wanting to see Emilia Clarke's early work, or you're kind of just interested in kind of a bit more of a bizarre, movie sort of monster. I didn't think the acting was too bad, though, to be quite honest. I did like one thing I liked here. There's a character in this who you can think, oh, he's gonna be dead meat. This guy is dead meat, but they kind of maybe play with their expectations a little bit and don't kill him off, which I thought was quite good. And the body count is relatively low, aside from this kind of the one scene I'm telling you about. But it's kind of fun in a forgettable way. It's quite a sort of an exciting climax, but it really is kind of cheap. The dinosaurs basically look like sort of cartoons for the most part. So I'm going to give this particular movie a 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.